The Indiana Fever lost to the Washington Mystics in overtime. As we expected with Aaliyah Boston, she went down. I said during free agency, Aaliyah Boston is going to have to be ran to the ground. You heard Amber Cox panicking. You can go check my channel. I have videos of this documented. Amber Cox on record saying Aaliyah Boston, she doesn't have to ramp up. She will be full go without no indication of a ramp up period, right? Usually when it's Caitlin Clark, any other player, there's a ramp up period. With Aaliyah Boston, there wasn't a ramp up period. She's out with a lower leg injury as well. So thank you for that, not getting us a backup, a nice, decent backup center, right? Or having Aaliyah Boston play the four. Thank you for that, front office. Now, before we even get into this game, I just want to say this. Stephanie White, I have to talk to you. What is your actual problem with Caitlin Clark? Like, I want to genuinely sit down and have a conversation with you. Yet you have an open invitation to this platform to clear your name, which will be impossible to do, because there's no way you watch what Caitlin Clark did and forced overtime, and you thought in overtime the best thing to do was to defer from her and go to Kelsey Mitchell. So as you can see right here, what I tweeted, I said Fever first quarter points 28, Fever second quarter points was 9. How do you have a discrepancy that large and your job as a coach isn't in question? Especially when you look at the consistency of this pattern. Stephanie White is known for doing these kind of trends. Do I got to take you back to last year with Lexi Holt benching her and then having a player? Oh, Michaela Timpson might I add, right? Benching Lexi and Michaela Timpson and then being forced to play them because there's just nobody that can play defense. Now you see the same trend happening this year, but it's with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin has a dominant first quarter, kind of like she did last game, right? And what happens? You take her out and she loses rhythm, right? You bring Caitlin Clark in the second quarter, and what happened? You go away from the Caitlin Clark style basketball. So Stephanie White, I want to genuinely ask you, and I mean this with every bone in my body, what is your problem with Caitlin Clark running the show? What is your, everything looks fluent. Everybody gets their touches when she's running the show. Everyone looks good when she's running the show. But for some reason, you just go away from her. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why. Everyone sees it, whether they admit it or not. Let's move on. You see right here, I posted, there's no way Caitlin forces overtime, and your response in overtime is to have Kelsey Mitchell take the final shot twice in a row. Yeah, we'll dive into all of that during the film breakdown, but this is just a recap right now, right? Horrendous coach the Indiana Fever has in Stephanie White. Fever fall 1 and 2 in the first part of their easiest portion of the schedule. See, Stephanie White, if you knew anything about crowd control, winning the crowd over, anything about just fans in general and protecting your job security, you would know that. And I would hope that you would know this. You would have used this easy portion of the schedule to literally create a cushion for yourself. If there was anything that Slurp FC, that drinks all Stephanie White's Kool-Aid, could have used, it would have been Stephanie White abusing this easy portion of the schedule, stacking as many wins as possible, so then you can do your mission and sabotage Caitlin Clark's game later on in the season, and then people can have evidence and say, look, we were winning during early on in the season, at least. But Stephanie White, it seems like asking you to beat inferior opponents is too much to ask for even someone as bad as a coach that you are. Do I got to remind everybody? Loser coach in Vanderbilt, a loser in the WNBA, a loser as a WNBA player. Stephanie White, when have you ever won when your name was attached to the sport basketball? This is actually insane. Now that takes us to the next post. Caitlin forces overtime. I want all you guys to guide your attention to the TV. We'll talk about this during the film breakdown as well. But I want you guys to pay attention to this real quick. Caitlin gets off the ball. Executed to a T. Lexi Holt screens for Caitlin Clark. Nice screen by Lexi. The defender is lost. Doesn't know that Caitlin is curling around it. Maisha Hines-Allen has the ball right out there for Caitlin. Beautiful. Caitlin comes off it. Beautiful shot for Caitlin Clark. And you just gotta love it. Look at this. You gotta love it. Game-tying overtime shot. Everybody counted on Caitlin Clark. This is the highest pressure shot you can take in the sport of basketball right now, right? You're down. Like, literally you miss this or make it, that determines the outcome of the game. You make it, we go to overtime, you miss it, you lose the game. That's insane amount of pressure. Stephanie White saw this, and let me see what Stephanie White's reaction was to this play as well. I never even looked to see what was her reaction. Just this one little, you know what I'm saying? Now she's right back on defense. Okay, let's move on, chat. What's the next thing we got? Well, what happened to the shooting? This is not even to my brother Ken Swift right here. This is to fans that just in general say this about Caitlin Clark. They like to criticize Caitlin Clark's game without including all the specific details. So I went ahead and said, well, let me see you try playing well when your coach quite literally sabotages any momentum you create. It's so funny watching Caitlin Clark get blamed for being out of rhythm and being expected to perform the way she did under a coach in Lisa Bluter, who made it clear to have Caitlin Caitlin Clark in rhythm. Victim blaming at its finest. I'm tired of Caitlin Clark getting blamed for her coach's decisions. I'm tired of Caitlin Clark being expected to perform well under chaotic circumstances. You're all watching Caitlin Clark in real time recalibrate her game to survive under Stephanie White, and she still is employed. This is a coach who is on record saying her injury was a blessing in disguise. This is a coach who is on record saying she carried us in the first half and the rest of the team carried us in the second half when Caitlin dropped 32, 9, and 8. Do I gotta continue? Do you know how many clips and film and evidence that I done pulled up? Do you know there's unreleased clips that I can't even show that shows interaction with Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark that would just be a bad look that I've been told I can't show? Like, this is deeper than what you guys even know. So imagine what I know. With what you guys know already, you know Stephanie White isn't the coach for Caitlin Clark. Imagine what I know that I can't speak about. It's not even just the clip alone. I hear things, I know things, but I just can't say it. So listen to me and read between the lines when I say this is not going to work. I'm sorry, it isn't going to work. Takes us to our next post. I've got to admit, Stephanie White may be the greatest coach of all time. It takes skill and heart to believe you are this good at something that you're not good at. You got to commend Stephanie White for it. Right? Look at this comment right here. LMAO, she is a defensive coach, but we have one of the worst defenses in the league. So Stephanie, if you're not known as being an offensive coach and you're known as being a defensive coach, why are we abysmal on both ends of the floor? Why do we look so stagnant on offense and we look like we don't have a clue what we're doing on defense? But you're the defensive coach. You can't even teach Aaliyah Boston how to set a screen properly. But I'm supposed to believe you're a defensive coach? Be for real with me, Stephanie White. You can't teach Maisha Hines-Allen how to screen properly. You can't even teach the players how to navigate screens. Lexi Hall and Raven Johnson are probably your only on-ball screen navigators. Off-ball screen navigators, might I add. You have Kelsey Mitchell as your two guard. You invest in Kelsey Mitchell so much, but she's your two guard. When everybody knows in the WNBA and the NBA, the majority of time that you are successful and have a shot at a championship and building a dynasty is when your two guard is a 3-and-D guard. Do I got to bring you to the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson? Do I got to bring you to the Las Vegas Aces, Jackie Young? Do I got to bring you to anybody? Look around. The two guards in the league are 3-and-Ds. Let's move on though, chat. Stephanie White is genuinely going to drive me crazy. I said this first quarter versus second quarter thing with Stephanie White is actually comical. CC dominated the first quarter and left with a 13-point lead. The second quarter comes. How do you allow her to play iso ball again after last game? This has to stop. Stephanie White looked at Caitlin Clark after the first quarter and said, you know what? We're going to go away from that. The same exact thing she did in the second quarter. I don't know how many times I have to show the pattern of what Stephanie White is doing whenever Caitlin Clark looks successful. Do you know how many times? Let me just show you. I'm going to type God on my profile and I'm gonna just let you know how many posts pop up. So right here you can see I said 2 hours ago, once again, Caitlin Clark looks like a god out there. This was the first quarter, and the Fever are winning. It is a package deal. This should be the game plan every game. This was on May 15th, 7:38, right? Not too long ago. Then that takes us to yesterday. 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, right? I said the first 6 minutes of this game should be the game plan every game moving forward. You know who's the only one? You know who else is being consistent? Stephanie White and Venom. The only difference is I have positive intentions. She has negative intentions. I said Caitlin looks like a god out there. The Fever are winning, and it's a package deal, right? What's good for CC is great for everyone. This was on May 13th, 10:48 p.m. So why are we acting like this is news to us? Stephanie White consistently goes away from what works. Caitlin hits a game-tying OT three-point shot, and in overtime, she goes and defers to Kelsey Mitchell not once, but twice. Lost us the game just like that. How do you, and then to make matters worse, she didn't even have Kelsey. She didn't even write for Kelsey to go for the three. Kelsey went for a floater. And you're going to hear the Slurp FC say, but Venom, we're supposed to go for a quick 2-foul and probably go for, this is a three-point shooter. You got Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell on your team. Go for that three-point shot. You're playing against the Washington Mystics, the literal worst three-point shooting team coming into this game. But you're supposed to... I'm out of here, chat. We got to go break this film down. Listen, man, hit the like button, hit the sub button, chat. Stephanie White's not the answer. Yeah, she's just not the answer. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. We're closing in on 50,000 subs. You know, we're going to find the good through the bad. I love you guys, and I'm going to see you guys in a couple of hours. Peace out, baby.